What's up, everybody? It's your boy Casey Cox, and I'm back with the rebuild. Listen, I'm gonna have a talk today about something I touched on in some of my other videos. You might have heard me utter a phrase, owning your shit, right? Yeah, I want to get into that a little bit more in depth. Why is that so hard for people? You know, that's one of these things that's very difficult for some people to do for good reason. Because basically coming to self-realization, aka owning your shit, brings you a lot of times people to the realization that a lot of the things that they've gone through or currently going through, in the current circumstance, is basically on them. They kind of lose the excuses of this is that person's fault, this thing's fault, that thing's fault. I didn't make it here because of that. I'm going through this because of him, because of these things. It brings you to that realization that it's on you. That it was a lot of decisions that you made, choices, situations you allowed yourself to be in or put yourself in, people you decided to deal with, caused you to be where you at right now. It could be your own laziness, your own neglect, your own lack of drive. You're not pushing to make something happen. They come to realize that, and again, that's hard to deal with. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to deal with the bad things you may have done. Sometimes you've done bad things to people. You've been in relationships, done them wrong. Cheated, did things. Again, a lot of times that's hard to deal with because people don't like to look at themselves in a bad light. They don't consider themselves, I'm a bad person. People like to think the most of themselves. I'm a great person. I'm not capable of doing that. I didn't do that, So again, it comes down to these things are not my fault. They put it on a bunch of external stuff. It's this, it's that, it's this. Again, not owning their shit, not having that self realization. So it's very hard, and it's understandable. But at the same time, it's very important and it's critical that we learn to do that. We learn to own our own shit or have that self-realization. Because one of the things is, the thing is, coming to that and learning to own your own shit. If you can do that, you'll come to discover that it's one of the most beautiful things in the world. Why? Because in developing that self-realization and coming to own your own shit, you come to realize that you have the power. The power that you have is incredible. Like the power you have to actually control and form and shape your life. You come to realize that the outside world and everything like that doesn't have as much power as you may think it does in your life, and holding your life and controlling your life. You have the power. You can actually shape your life to anything you want it to be. You understand what I'm saying? It's not outside forces. It's not the landlord. It's not your supervisor, your boss on the job. It's not whoever. It's all in your hands. You can make your life whatever you want it to be. I know people, y'all have heard the saying, life is what you make it, right? It's absolutely true. Your life is what you make it. It's in your hands. Anything you want, you can make it happen. It may take some time. It may take some work. Yes, you may run into some obstacles, some no's, some door closers in your face. That's fine, but that's not actually stopping you from where you're getting to go. It may be slowing you up a little bit, but at the end of the day, you keep pushing, you keep working, you keep striving, you're going to get to exactly where you want to get. You're going to have exactly what you want to have. You want a house one day, you can make it happen. You want a car, you can make it happen. You want a job, a better job, you can make it happen. You want a successful relationship, a happy relationship, you can make it happen. You just got to put that work in and you can make it happen. You understand what I'm saying? So owning your shit is not necessarily a bad thing. It's a hard thing. It's a very, very hard thing, but it's a beautiful thing. And it's something that we all should strive to do. It's going to take time, of course, and nothing is going to happen overnight. All of a sudden, it's going to take time, and it's going to be incredibly hard because as I said, dealing with a lot of that stuff, those realizations is hard. Nobody wants to take that in, and again, come to that understanding that damn, I'm going through this because of me, because I did that. I fucked myself up. I made that choice. I made that decision. Yeah, it's on you. You know what I'm saying? 90% of the things you go through is on you. 90% of the stuff that you go through, circumstances in your life, are all the result of decisions and choices that you made, and the consequences just roll out. which forms your circumstance, your current circumstance, the current life you live in. It's all the results of decisions that you made. It rolls out, and whatever way it rolls out. So you have to, again, take better stock of the decisions that you're making, of the choices that you're making. That's why it's critical to think a little bit before you act sometimes. Work on your impulse control, Think a little bit before you act, because you're all free to make whatever decisions and choices you want to make. But you're not free from the consequences of those choices. You understand what I'm saying, people? So, yeah, man, owning your shit is hard, but it's important. It's critical to make it got a lot of things easier in life. Relationships across the board, whatever. Your relationship, owning your shit will help you, make the changes you need to make in whatever area of life, whether it's on the job, owning how you go about doing your job, if it's, family relationships, owning that stuff, romantic relationships, again, in that area, it helps change. You got to own your shit. If your partner comes to you and like, hey, this is happening, I'm seeing this and that. If you blow everything off, oh no, I know what you're talking about, that ain't my fault. You can't make the changes to keep the things healthy. You can't do it. You got to be able to look at some stuff. And of course, sometimes, maybe things are not true, because sometimes a lot of things in people's minds are subjective. So maybe it's not actually something that you're doing, but you still got to have that good communication to maybe help sort that stuff out. But if it's actual things that you're actually doing, what these people are saying are legit to you, you got to take that in. You got to own that shit and say, you know what? Okay, I see I'm doing these things. This is where you can do the work to change it. Because again, I know another saying I know that people probably heard, the first step to solving a problem is first admitting there is one, right? What's that mean? That means owning your shit. I know I keep saying that a lot, right? But that's what it is. So with that being said, let's get out there, people. Let's do better. Let's be better. Let's start to gain that self-realization, and let's start owning our shit. So, of course, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, share this with your friends and family, and come back for some more content. And remember, keep building, keep pushing, keep striving. And if this world comes along and knocks you down, roughs you up a little bit, it's okay, because just like me, you can always rebuild. Till next time, one love.